Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. As you know, rootjet phones have often appeared on the channel. Those phones that are resistant to shocks, dust, water, and temperature. In short, we can use them without worrying about anything that might happen to them, and this has also come to smartwatches. And that's why our friends from Kospet have introduced this watch that I'm wearing on my wrist, the Tank T3, a smartwatch that promises to follow that same rootjet philosophy, so that we can use it for absolutely everything, that it will withstand anything, it won't break if we hit it or if we go into the pool with that. In short, so we can use it all day without worrying about wearing it on our wrist. In this video, we're going to take a close look at this watch. We've already reviewed others in the past. Well, this one is going to offer some typical smartwatch features, but its main difference is that it's a rootjet smartwatch, so we can use it without worrying about anything at all. But let's take a look at it, specifically at some technical details, and then I'll show you what features this Tank T3 offers us, because honestly, it's really complete. To start, I have to say that we have a pretty classic style, and we have some interchangeable bands, including the one that comes by default. With this smartwatch, it comes with a typical rubber strap, something flexible, and we just attach it with two clasps in a very simple way. But anyway, later we could buy as many bands as we want, like I said. It has a pretty classic look with a round face, and then when we turn it on, we'll be able to set up the watch faces. I'll show you that later. We have the usual hands showing the time, month, day, and current temperature. Connecting it to our device will let us access all this information. We have a smartwatch that measures about 5 by 5 centimeters in width and height. Then we have a thickness of 1.5 and a weight of 75 grams, which honestly is not heavy at all. But it's true that the watch is on the larger side, so you have to like big watches to be able to wear this Tank T3 just to finish looking at it before I put it back on. On the back, we have the sensors for heart rate, the oxygen sensor. We're gonna have an oxygen sensor, a magnetic charger, and 2 pins for magnetic charging. And then on the front, we have the power button, the back button, and the sport button, to have direct access to all those sports we like to do, such as walking, hiking, cycling, swimming, biking, or doing triathlons. Well, then everything related to the gym, elliptical bike, rowing, dancing, basically a lot of activities where it will be able to track our workouts. I haven't mentioned it, but we will be able to get the watch in 2 colors, silver and black. In this case, we have the silver one, which you can see up close. And then on the left side, we have a microphone and a speaker. I have to say that the speaker sounds good, but in my opinion, it could use a little more volume. If we're doing daily tasks and get a call, we'll hear it clearly. However, it could use more volume outdoors, which isn't the case here. For example, the microphone. They've told me it sounds really good, even better than the one built into the iPhone. So in this regard, this Kospet Tank T3 is very well equipped. Also, I should mention that the screen, even though it will have Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which is quite resistant, we'll be able to put a screen protector on it, which comes with an installer and absolutely everything right in the box. But this is up to personal preference, because maybe you don't want to use a protector. And however, have the best feeling directly with the screen. We have a screen size of 1.43 inches and 466 pixels by 466 pixels. It would be equivalent to a square screen, but the thing is the watch face is round, so if you imagine a square screen and then cut off part of it, you end up with this circular 1.53 inch screen. Like I said, it's pretty big. But it also has the advantage that, for example, we can use apps like a calculator right on the watch itself. And honestly, all the numbers and absolutely the whole interface look really big and very clear. We have a 500 mAh battery, which charges in about 2 hours if it's completely drained using that magnetic charger I mentioned on the back. Now, how long will it last us? Well, if we use it in a normal way, about 10 days, around 10 to 13 days approximately, depending on how much we use it. With very intensive use, about a week, between 5 to 7 days of actual use. And we also have the option to enable the always-on display, which means we would always have the time on the screen. And this would, of course, consume much more battery, so it would last about 2 to 3 days. In any case, you'll see that it's not a watch. that we have to take off at night to sleep, that it won't track our sleep, or that we have to take it off in the shower. Maybe, because we have to charge it every day, it's not a watch that we're gonna charge every week or every 2 weeks, depending on how we use it. So it's going to track all our activity 24 hours a day. Now, cool features we have on the watch. First, when we tap it and turn it on, we're going to have several watch faces, or in other words, the background of the screen when we start it up, which is customizable. We can set whichever ones we want. And what's more, in the mobile app, if we connect it, we'll have a store with a ton of watch faces. Of these watch faces for the watch, where, well, we can completely customize it to our liking. Once we unlock it, we have a menu where we can, for example, connect or disconnect from the phone to save battery. We can increase or decrease the screen brightness, set it to vibrate or sound, and enable a night mode so it doesn't bother us. Anyway, we can also see the battery, and then if we swipe down, we'll have a shortcut to all the activity we've done today. It will show us calories, steps, and kilometers. And then, if we keep scrolling down, we'll have music control. If we have Spotify on our phone, we can control it from here. The heart rate per minute will be continuously monitored for us. This is adjustable. Normally, by default, it takes a measurement every 10 minutes, but you can increase or decrease this interval. It will also measure our blood oxygen level, blood pressure, whether we are stressed, and our emotions. If, for example, the phone is connected, it will display the time. Also, in a very precise way, we also have the humidity in the environment, the air quality. What is the forecast for the next few hours, and what is the forecast for the next few days? So in this regard, that weather app is very, very complete. Of course, we can set alarms. It will give us all the sleep data, and it will also give us all those recordings we have made during our workouts. We also have menstrual cycle tracking for women. And then, well, a universal clock and also a stopwatch in case we want, for example, to time certain sports tests or any type of activity. We can do it in a very easy way. All these shortcuts are editable, so we can configure them completely to our liking. And then, if we tap it one more time, we'll go to a screen where we have a few more things. We can, for example, make calls directly from our watch to a contact we have. Among everything I mentioned before, we can also access it from this menu with the little circles. And well, there's a bit more to mention. We have a voice assistant, we have the whole calculator feature I mentioned, which we can access from here. The remote controller to take photos with your phone, the feature to, for example, find our mobile device. We can tap it and it will make a sound on the phone so we can locate it. And then some settings where we can change the watch faces again. Or activate, for example, the always on display, which is, as I mentioned, to keep the screen on all day. Then it's true that we'll be wearing the watch all day and it will be monitoring all our activity. Still, by the end of the day, we might not want to see the information on the watch since it can be tedious. Instead, it's probably much easier to access it from our mobile device, which syncs the information. For example, also with the health app or some type of app that you especially like, and to see it in a much more focused, easier way with a better interface. So let's also take a look at what the mobile app is like when we open it for the first time. The first thing we're going to see will be all the data that the Tank 3 has collected throughout the day. Of course, the initial part shows everything we've walked, the calories we've burned, the distance, and of course, the steps. Here it would keep a history for us over time. Then we have the time we've slept. I haven't slept yet, I'm still testing the device. Then we have, as I mentioned, the heart rate per minute, which is measured every 10 minutes. Well, my minimum is 67. 67 and 92 with an average of 76. Well, I think that part is more or less fine. Next, blood pressure. We don't have data on this yet since it hasn't been measured for me, but blood oxygen has already been measured several times. Normally, it should be close to 100% as long as we are healthy people. And as you can see, my blood oxygen is at 99% and the range is between 96 and 99, which is normal. So far, it hasn't detected any stress or emotions in me. Let's move on to look at the watch. Honestly, it's very simple to use. As I was saying, if we click once while on the main screen, we go to a menu where we have access to calls. The daily activity, which we can view similarly to how we were seeing it on the phone, and then we'll also have this. It's a different menu. We'll have access to it. For example, if we want to start a sport, let's say I want to start running, we just tap here. It picks up the global positioning system we tap, go, start now, and we could start running right away. And it will monitor us in a much closer way. So all the heart rate, the pace at which we're running, basically all this data, calories, steps per minute, and so on. Then, for example, we'll be able to see all the records. We'll also be able to see the heart rate. As you can see now, the one it's measuring for me is 75, but we could even do an instant measurement later, and then things like stress, which it will automatically measure along with emotions. And well, we can do, for example, an instant measurement where it has measured our heartbeats per minute, which it showed as 151. Let's see, if we go to stress now, well, here we have 56, which is normal. Anyway, we can do a lot of things like control the music on our phone, for example. If I now open Spotify on my phone, you'll see that I can pause and play it directly from here. Time that, as I mentioned before, well, we can see it. I don't want my address to show up though. So the current temperature, humidity, air quality, and all the upcoming forecasts for the next few days. We're going to do breathing exercises, where it will tell us for 1 minute how long we need to inhale and exhale. Set alarms, timers, the calculator, which as I mentioned before, we can, for example, do calculations directly here. Then, if we want to take a photo remotely from the watch, we open the Kospet app on the phone and go to the camera section. We would take a photo, we would have a small flashlight. It can get you out of trouble, find my phone, and if we tap it, you'll see that a notification appears on the phone showing that it's being searched for. And then there's the whole menstrual tracking feature for women. Lastly, I mentioned that in the app, we could set, for example, several watch faces. Here we have a more playful one, for example. We can download and use this one, and as you can see, it automatically sets itself on the watch. Also, something I really liked about this screen is the available brightness. We have 1000 nits, which is really appreciated. If we go out now in the summer in broad daylight to do any kind of exercise, or if we just want to check the time, we'll be able to see it very, very easily because this screen is really bright. Lastly, as I was saying, the watch is going to be tracking our activity all day, so it can notify us on the phone. For example, if it detects that our heart rate is much higher or lower than what is normal for us. Also, among other things, we can set, for example, step goals that we want to reach. In short, all these kinds of things that a smart, interactive watch offers us, which ultimately helps us track our day and monitor our sports activity. Now, the last part. The price of this Kospet Tank T3 starts at around 120 euros. I'll put all the info and the best purchase links in the description, plus mention that you can use quality accessories with it. Well, as I told you, certain straps or certain accessories which would increase the price a bit, a price that I think is really worth paying. Yes, in addition to being a good watch, it monitors a lot of things for you, like blood pressure, which isn't something you typically find. Well, you also want it to be a durable watch, with that IP9X rating or up to 5 atmospheres of pressure that this Tank T3 can withstand. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you liked it, leave a like. See you in the next one. Goodbye.